Yo, 365, and welcome to another video, another analysis. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're catching up with the work that I've been putting in. We've basically covered about 37 assets in about 3 weeks. Still got a long way to go, but we're building a factory line here. Remember, these are long-term analysis, right? This is not something that you need for just tomorrow, but it's something that you will need for the rest of 2023 to 2024. Understanding that long-term trend so that you're never caught buying when the majority of the time banks are going to be selling, right? We know that markets move in zigzags, but you don't want to be zagging when they're zigging, right? So that's the whole point of these videos. Please take them seriously. Don't be like, about 40-something% of people watch our channel, and in December, when we're now counting our chickens, when everything is risen, when we're looking at our profit and loss balance, when we're looking at our win rate, when we're looking at our accuracy on signals that were given completely for free on the channel, you start to realize, oh damn, maybe I should have taken this part seriously. Damn, I should have written this down. I should have journaled. I should have kept track. I should have held on. I should have just followed, the war rooms, right? It's only in trading, honestly, it's only in trading where you get a pilot. I would be the pilot in that example, and you still get people jumping out of the plane before we get out of the, reach the destination, right? If you're tuned in and you truly believe this is what you want to do with your life and you really want to master it, then just take me not only at my word, but take me at the systematic consistency of the markets. Just stick with it until you prove me wrong, right? If you can't prove me wrong, then fully commit to the process, right? So I really hope you guys are zeroing in the stuff, right? So we last did NZDCHF together, and today we're gonna be cooking on NZD Swiss franc. NZD Swiss franc, which is our next asset, right? So we've got some analysis from last year. Ooh, you see, interesting, right? So I'm clearly not in this anymore. Clearly sold with you guys September last year. Just go through the war rooms, the data, the evidence of these trades being taken on Q last year, all they published last year. We did the war rooms, the before and after, and then got out sometime September. And it seems like I personally never got back into this market, even though we got out at the right time, because then you can see here markets came back for a full-blown retracement and then went back down again and went back a little bit lower than last time, right? So we could have potentially more sells to go, or markets have finally found a bottom. That's the whole point of today's video. We're going to actually have a look. But just looking at NZD Swiss franc, I can see this is a massive seller. Last year was a sell year, right? And this is what I'm trying to show you guys, right? You can see here I wrote sell. And if you find my earlier war rooms in the first or second financial quarter, we mapped this out. And this wasn't based on how I feel about price. It wasn't based on what the news was saying about price. This was based on supply and demand, looking at those governing time frames, those higher time frames, and predicting that, well, if price is leaving a governing supply or just left a governing supply, the next demand is A, B, or C. And because the demand is that far away, we're going to be selling. And that's all we did, right? Markets rally into sell zones, counter trend into sell zones, consolidate into sell zones, retrace back from sell zones. Like, this is literally what happened, in about a year and 5 months, right? Because we're now in the month of May 2023 and price is still selling. So the purpose of this video, in case you don't know, is to just really kind of like get a clear sense of where price is going in 2023 into 2024. Basically, I'm mapping out price in April, May 2023, and what trades to take up until April, May of 2024. Because banks think in 3 months, take profit in 1 year in a 10-year span. And if you're tired of hearing me saying that, show me your profit, show me your P&L. If you really believe you get it, if you really, really get it, then we should see that the revelation in your balance, right? Otherwise, I'm just going to keep repeating myself until we really get it, right? So NZD Swiss franc on the 12-month chart looks something like this. Let's get to work. Right, I've got a clean sell profile asset. Price has been dropping non-stop since the 1980s, as according to how this broker printed price. You might even get earlier on data, but it's just massive compression, right? Slight consolidation took place in this area here from about, say, 1988, right? Markets really tried to hold their own till about 2007. So 1988 to 1988 to 2007. So you've got two 10-year plans here, right? Two strong decades of price really consolidating after a crazy drop. So after a crazy drop starts in 1980, 1979, as you can see. So for 10 years, markets trend down, and then for 20 years, two 10-year blocks, markets consolidate. Where do you think we're going now? Where do you think we're going now? And how long do you think we're going to be, moving in that direction for, right? So it's obvious that, markets are are on the verge of more sell pressure. It's a sell profile asset, and we're well within our last decade anyways, 2020 to 2030, and price is going to get some selling going, right? You can see here, not so many clean supplies on the 12-month chart. I would not consider this a supply. Would not consider this a supply. I would only consider this our very first supply in the consolidation period. And you can see it took time for price to build up that courage, and that would put us at 2007, that very big banking financial crisis, right? And then here's a new supply right here in 2015. And I can see I'm going to start drawing on top of other zones. I'm going to delete what I'm drawing now, but I just want you to see it for yourself. In 2015, a new supply came about. Markets made contact in 2017. And by 2018, 10 years from this very first supply in 2008, markets trend to the downside, okay? Right, so I'm just gonna leave them in, right? Maybe we'll see if it gets messy, we'll remove them. On the 3-month chart, this is what we have now. This is what we have cooking. So we're gonna do some slight adjustments. I'm going to adjust my 12-year supply to kind of like take the proximal line of the 3-month supply, looking at the clean imbalance break of market structure. That's some really good stuff. You really want to see that kind of stuff. And then here is that second supply in 2015 that we spoke about. I'm going to tighten it. Really not much tightening to do. Right, long area of competition, clean proximal line, markets make contact. There you go, 2016, 2017, blah, 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 and all the way to 2018, consolidating around price, breaking demands, breaking, previous low points and creating their own lows, right? So that's what markets did. On the 3-month chart, remember 3 months means, we're looking at financial quarters. All our sales from last year, 2022, right? All them, they were literally based on governing timeframes, but you can see that the governing timeframes then went on to create 3-month supplies, presidential supplies. So this is the second financial quarter of April last year, right? And you can see this is where we are now, April, right? April last year, massive bearish engulfing pattern. Markets come make their way back into this proximal zone there, right? And then markets now slowly starting to drop again, and we don't know the bottom. We don't have a bottom on this asset right now. Every single long week that was a low has been filled, so we really don't have a bottom. We're dealing with this area right now, right? So when we start talking about yearly lows and all those kind of terms that you might see on in the media, in forex market articles and stuff like that, and we're looking at yearly lows of, I guess, 0.5276, somewhere down there. And yeah, potentially might then get a chance to fill this week right now. I don't see any serious buy-up pressure at the moment, but this is a candlestick that is still very much active. It will close in June, so we can come back and reassess what's happening here. All right, but markets are leaning a little bit to the downside. And if price was to come back to the to the upside, if we're to get like some strong bullish pressure, then this is what we need to be all concerned about, right? Markets coming back all the way up here, unless if by the end of 2023, and I'm talking about financial quarter, so the third financial quarter, markets have done this, right? So that would be July, September, August, and then by December of 2023 markets create another red candle to the downside, and we've got 1, 2, 3 clean candles, then we can look at this green candle here and say, oh, we have a 365 candle, and therefore this is our new supply for the year 2024. But we'll see, right? And then we can expect price to do something like this in 2024. But until then, we don't know. Right now, we can only, literally do all our trading based on what we see, what we have. And what we have is there's only one big valid supply all the way up there. Markets are still formulating and confirming what they want to do. And now we're going to move to the monthly time frame. You see what I did here on the 3 months chart? Look at this. Just want to show you. I was projecting the existence of a 3 month supply in 2024. But remember, I always tell you price is fractal. So now look at what's going to happen in this blue area on the governing time frame. Look at this. See that? The building blocks for the supply that I'm projecting in the near future are already in place. The building blocks for that 2024 move that I'm talking about, that we'll talk about throughout the whole year, we'll talk about next year, are already in place. And by that, I'm referring to a governing supply that's here. Remember, for a governing supply to work, it's going to need momentum, and then we're going to see that momentum is a bearish engulfing pattern on the 3 months chart. And after 2 or 3 or 4 financial quarters, we're going to see that governing supply turn into a 3 month supply, turn into a 1 year supply after 1 or 2 years, right? So all this stuff is compounded upon, right? So in the governing time frame, I already have something that could look like a valid supply. That to me looks like a bearish engulfing pattern right there. Right, clean stroke holding, right? I can look at the highs of that green candle. I could do something like that to secure a better proximal line. I can acknowledge that price has not come back, and also I can see that the month of May started off on a strong green note. We have agreed to know that there's really not much to go on at the bottom, right? No real demand levels to talk about, and so price might be coming up with one, or at least buying back to continue selling. And by that, I mean pushing price up so they can sell high. On the weekly time frame, we're looking for some type of base, some type of landing. There we go. We've got the creation of a value. We've got break of market structure. But on the weekly time frame, we've got a smaller, and weekly is a big time frame. So, don't mind me when I say small. When I say small, I'm talking about in relation to our monthly and 3 months and 12-month charts, etc. Right, but this is what it looks like. Right, so on the weekly time frame, we've got a supply that's formulated already, and markets are rushing towards it. There are a couple of things that I need you to look out to when you get access to this video. Today is the 7th of May. It's a Sunday. You'll most likely see this video on Tuesday, I don't know, the 9th of May. So there'll still be enough time for you to really think through what I'm saying. Be careful how price arrives. We want our supplies to work out, but we notice that when price drops, right? So this is some look at this area here. This is another weekly supply. Price dropped very, 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 very sharply. But as price was coming up, for that supply to work, I've taught on this many times, we want to see distribution, right? For that supply to work, we want to see distribution, okay? Because if we don't get distribution and we don't see, buyers slowing down, buyers reducing, buyers taking profits, price trending sideways, these type of areas of value over time tend to break. They break because there's obviously a higher supply, but number two, the type of force is not equal, right? For every action, there's an equal reaction. That's what Einstein said. Well, what happens, or is it Einstein? I don't know. Some famous scientist said it. Well, what happens if the reaction is not equal? If for this action, the reaction here is stronger, right? Then you've got parabolicness. And if price is too parabolic, it will break through. If there are 10 sellers here, and there are 50 buyers, the buyers are obviously going to overwhelm the sellers. I think that's a simpler way. At least that's how I teach my 8-year-old how to trade, right? So you need to look out for these characteristics of price. You really need to understand what these candlesticks are telling you beyond simple price action strategies, right? Simple price action strategies are not going to cut it. I'm going to tighten this area of value on the weekly time frame. So I'm going to say, okay, fine, we've got this area here. Knowing complicated 365 candlesticks, counter trends, I'll take the second body, but this is also tightly fine. And even if you do this, by the time you get to the daily time frame, you're going to be forced to kind of like narrow down. So I can narrow down now just so I don't confuse anyone. And I'm still worried about this area of value. I also acknowledge the fact that on the left, there is a higher, slightly higher weekly supply. And then the other problem with all of these is one of these supplies, if not both, is not in alignment with the governing time frame, right? So let's go back to the governing time frame. I'm gonna redraw this yellow here. You can see only the second weekly supply makes contact with the governing time frame right here. Go back to weekly, right? So it's technically speaking only this supply, right, that had strong reaction. Markets come back for a retest, markets falling. As markets are falling, a new supply is created, and that's okay. Prices are allowed to do that, right? Prices building sell momentum, prices creating a clean trend where prices moving down gradually, right? So we really do respect that. But the problem with buyers is they better have enough force down here, because price is about to head on to a very, very dangerous sell order block collision, right? If this supply doesn't work, if this supply probably will slow things down and most likely work, and anyways, you're already now fetching with the governing supply, and markets are not leaving from a governing demand. Remember, there is no demand, right? On the daily time frame, we have something like this, right? So this is the only base that price has, right? We finally found a real base, by I'm talking about an opposing area of value. This is the only demands at play. The first true demand in price on this leg or this phase of the market is from the daily time frame. And you can see this happened actually just about last week, 7th of April, and then it continued again. No, this is 2 weeks ago. Then it continued again last week at the beginning of May, right? Another second daily time frame buy, and this momentum buying, by the way, right? So that's why I was seeing price look very parabolic on the weekly time frame. But now if you look to the left, if you look at this, well, what happened here? Complicated 365, beautiful imbalance, or an okay enough imbalance, right? This is good. There's an imbalance. You can't ignore that. Price broke that supply, right? Doji candles, short-term basing with the bearish engulfing pattern. Will this last? I don't think so. Right, markets are probably going to keep bulldozing through until you get to these white zones, which are obviously our weekly sell areas that we spoke about. Right here, you might start to hopefully get some type of reaction. But any type of reaction from these daily zones, which are those weekly supplies, might only push price back to the daily demands, right? So these daily demands, like especially this one from last week, is still fresh, right? Markets might want to use it. So look out for that. Look at how price reacts to the left. Look at how long price sits here. You might get something like that into the next one, or at least into the governing supply. Right, so if I was a betting man, and I'm not a betting man, but if I was, I would assume that price wants to climb a little bit, at least until it gets into contact with the governing supply, which means in the short to medium term, NZD Swiss franc is most likely going to buy a bit more. This is the candlestick, and it's only the 7th of May, and look at how green it is already, right? We don't know how it will close. We don't know if these supplies will turn things around for price, and price will continuously fall. But we've had enough red, we've got strong imbalance, and I'm sure it would be nice for price to move a bit up and then continue with the selling, right? So just be on the lookout for that on NZD CAD. NZD Swiss franc. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I made sense. If you really like it, let me know. If you don't like it, also let me know. And don't forget to hit the link down below and check out our awesome institutional supply and demand course. That is easily, readily available with all the rules of supply and demand. It's just loading, taking its sweet time. And then the separate link, by the way, for you to gain access to be in our mail list. If you want to be in our mail list, I'll be doing a lot of emailing, a lot of structured emails, a lot of signals. We don't sell signals. That's the proof. Our proof is in the pudding. Come make money with us if you want to. And if you want to enrich your actual trading experience, then definitely hit the link down below. And I'll see you in the next video. 365. Peace.